Damn. That shit start recording shit early. But Arsene Lupin, man, this film is really groundbreaking, and the depths that it's intriguing is just right. It's really intriguing, like the type of subtext that they're dealing with in this film, and the myriad of perspectives of life that they're approaching. Now, Arsène Lupin is a novel. It's a French novel about a con man who can, uh, get in all kind of disguises and everything. He studies his opponent, or he studies his target to the T. He's a white man, so what makes this groundbreaking? I mean, just to have a movie about Arsene Lupin, but I like to say Lupin. But just to have a movie about him, I think is interesting. But to make him black, that's taking things to another level. And something I'm starting to notice is that the black story is starting to get into the mythology of film. You know, uh, usually when it comes to stories about black people, they are confounded or they're limited to the or the limitations of reality. Usually, when it comes to black stories, if there's white supremacy is going to defeat us. We usually lose at the end, and we're not given the abilities to overcome in our stories that other people are given. Right. Yeah. But what I mean is by us reaching or the black story starting to get into the mythology of film is we're starting to be given these abilities to overcome situations that deal with our reality, deal with racism or white supremacy. You're starting to see characters equipped with uh, the ability to overcome, right? If they find these abilities, or if they already have them, right? So, that's a trend I'm noticing, and then that's why this film is groundbreaking that they would make the character black, but then they also uh, include uh, real world aspects of black life. They're part of the story. In some movies, like in Blade, um, only in stereotypical ways do they deal with Blade being black, or subliminals. It's almost like insignificant that he's black. And that's not the world. And and characters, and action heroes, and stuff like that. You'll see that. Uh, Another thing too is that you know uh, like I said, black people's stories are confined to real world realities, right? You know, other people, if they have a slavery rebellion, they're going to win. If it's a black movie about slavery, we're going to lose, right? In most of the stories that we're given, you know, it's confound to the biases of white supremacy. See, because when you're making films or stories, you're supposed to be able to bring about the impossible, right? When you're telling stories, David slays Goliath. We really don't know if the story is real. Well, none of us are archaeologists, but they tell the story of David slaying the giant. See what I'm saying? And when it applies to black people, you usually don't have that. And in this story, this is what you got. You know what I'm saying? For one, here's another thing too, is you know, black people usually take on the biases of white supremacy when it comes to their own story. Their story be better, but they have it where we lose in the end. Or you'll have somebody responding too much to white supremacy that they mess up the story. And then the point you was trying to make doesn't even reach its target because you didn't make a good story. Spike Lee makes this mistake, right? Arsene Lupin, for one, it's a great story. Then it carefully blends uh, elements of racism and white supremacy within the story, right? Like whether he was black or white or whatever race, his obstacles will still be formidable, right? He'd still be up against the world, but him being a genius, we have faith that he can be successful, right? But he would still be up against the world. But the fact that you add to it that he's black, then it adds a different kind of tension. You know what I'm saying? So that's all added within the subtext of the story. They deal with race in the course of the story, in the course of the dialogue. It's all a part of the character's reality, as well as his quest. It means even more to him that he's black. Um, Something else I was thinking about within regards to this. But yeah. So with that said, there's controversy about there's not too many sisters and him messing with white women, but that's all a part of the subtext that they want to fuck with you. Right? He's a tall, dark skinned black man. He's the one that white men want to keep farthest from their women. But he's a dude that's almost designed to antagonize the white world. Right? He's intelligent, he can fight. He has a way about himself to get in with people. People will invite him in. And another weapon, can't no white woman resist him. He's every white man's nightmare. Can't no white woman resist him. And they play on this trope. This is a trope. This is all a part of the chemistry of the story and the chemistry of the character. This character is trying to attack white establishment, white people that's in power, and he has a reason to do so. It's all woven in the story, because he's black, but also people he's up against, they railroaded his father. They railroaded his father. So it's a generational story. And, there's subtext in it. He says, see, the character, he designed his life after Arsene Lupin, the novel, right? He designed his life after him. But he was given the book by his father. So it's a father passing on knowledge, and a knowledge that would carry him on, out throughout life. He said Arsene Lupin was a path for him. His father gave it to him. Anything about his father, because the story has flashbacks, to when he was young. So the thing about his father was he was crafty too. He was a wise black man who knew how to survive in a white supremacist world. But the reality of it is that black people can suffer because other people have insecurities. You can be accused of stealing and the police believe it, and then you get arrested, that change your life. And that shows up in this film too. And his father winds up killing himself. He's accused of stealing in the house that he works in. Stuff like that happens. We could be victims to white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And so Arsene, so the character Arsene Diop, you know, he learns the ways of Arsene Lupin and looks to get revenge for what happened to his father. You know, and and it's he goes about attacking and breaking down these powerful white men. And the movie is set in France. In France, um, they have voiceovers, but I think they intended for them, to have voiceovers because the body language, really like leans in uh, to the dialogue, right? I was checking on something, but yeah, the body language really leans into the dialogue, right? And so when you hear the voiceover, it really matches well. It doesn't. You can tell it's a voiceover, but it doesn't throw you off of the characters. It doesn't take you out of the film, and the voices really match with the character. And then the body language just adds a whole nother technique to it. So it's beautifully made. It's perfectly made. The story, even to having voiceovers, it's self-aware, and there's a lot of subtext in it. Even with um, the main character kind of carrying on his father's legacy, and then he passes it on to he's trying to pass it on to his son. His father gives him the book Arsene Lupin, and then he teaches his son about Arsene Lupin. But it's also Arsene Lupin is a way for him to survive in a white supremacist world. And so, I think it's interesting. Them adding these elements and taking, because here's the thing, the black story, if you look at like just black people, black history, black stories, it can make for great movies, right? There's a lot of obstacles and adversaries and heroes, and but because of biasness, we don't really get it. Even when you got black people with movies, or even when you got a black story, it doesn't live up to the elements of mythology. You add the elements of mythology to the black story, and man, you can have some of the best epics. You know, you know, uh, usually when they have those dynamics, black people lose in the story. Or if you have a black person that wins, it's insignificant that he's black. It's like he ain't dealing with no issues that a black man to deal with. Like one of the things that made Shaft, like that was, one of the simple things that made Shaft authentic was when he couldn't catch a cab. He was dealing with a black man experience. So, with Arsene Lupin, you know, Hassan Diop, who was the main character, you see how he moves through, how he adjusts and manipulates the obstacles that comes up against him, turns it into an advantage, right? And the thing about it is this is a story first, with all of that other stuff within the course of the movie. So it's perfect. With that, it's the Millie. We out of the building. Peace.